toxic masculinity.
Episcopal bishop
Uh-huh.
punished for refusing same-sex marriages.
Yeah, that is right. So the Episcopal Church is sort of notorious for being like pro-gay. They're like super pro-gay. You know, gay people should be ministers, and gay people should get married, and gay people should be everything gay.
Okay.
The Episcopal Church. I grew up with a friend of the family who was Episcopalian, and she was basically like a hardline leftist my whole life, like crazy far left. But anyway, strong feminist. I actually think, you know how I was saying earlier that these leftists, they like to believe that the people in charge are like smarter than them and they know what they're doing, and they'll just leave it to them because they're so smart and they speak softly on NPR. So she's a little bit different. I actually think this woman who grew up in the Episcopal Church, and she's this like far left feminist, I think that she considers herself smarter than everybody else. And so when she sees these Democrat politicians and these people on NPR and these journalists who kind of remind her of herself, she thinks, okay, we're like the same people. I want people like that in charge because they're like me. And so her arrogance, I think, is what causes her to vote for Democrats, because she does know about politics, but she's a lunatic. Anyway,
Lunatic.
I mean, she's like a nice lady. I mean, she had my buddy. She had 3 kids that me and my brothers grew up playing with. They were fine. They were perfectly like normal people, but yeah, she's just like a little kooky when it comes to politics. She really is. All right. Let's go ahead and read this article. Former Episcopal bishop disciplined for refusing same-sex marriages in diocese, and now he's going to join the Anglican Church. The Anglican Church is actually connected to the Episcopal Church. The Episcopal Church is actually the Church of England in America. But they kind of have their own rules and they kind of do their own thing. And so the Anglican Church is the Church of England. So I guess for some reason they have 2 branches in America, the Anglican Church and the Episcopal Church. And the Anglican Church, I guess, is a little bit more conservative. But the Church of England is quite progressive left-wing as well, which is really annoying. So anyway, so this guy, let's see here. An Episcopal bishop who was punished by the church leadership for refusing to allow same-sex marriages in his diocese said he is leaving the mainline Protestant church on Good Friday and seeking to be received in the Anglican Church in North America. Aston, I will murder you. All right. Let's see here. In a statement Tuesday, William H. Love, the former bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Albany, do I have anything to throw at him? I don't think anything that's not going to hurt him. Hey, Aston. Go away. Is the other cat out there? What's going on?
Do you want to let him out?
You can if you want.
Okay.
All right, let me read this. Okay. In a statement Tuesday, William H. Love, former bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Albany, New York. Okay, like I said, announced he wrote to presiding bishop Michael Curry requesting to be released and removed from ordained ministry in the Episcopal Church effective Good Friday, April 2nd. So that'd be today. Love pointed to difficulties he had experienced, his experience maintaining a biblical view of marriage. As a cradle Episcopalian, so I guess that means he was born Episcopalian, with nearly 30 years of ordained ministry as a deacon, priest, and bishop, that was not an easy decision. But given all that has transpired these past couple of years and the constraints placed upon me as a theologically conservative and orthodox bishop within the Episcopal Church, I believe it's the right decision. As the Christian Post observed on July 2018, the Episcopal Church General Convention passed Resolution B012, which mandated that all dioceses must allow for same-sex marriages, even dioceses in which the local bishop maintains a traditional biblical view of marriage and sexuality. Though the resolution permitted clergy to refuse Okay, if you want peace and quiet in your household, do not get a Bengal. They are the loudest cats on earth.
Is he here? Is he here?
I don't know. He was meowing to come back in, I think.
Okay.
All right, let's see here. I'm not going to read the details of what they allow and what they don't allow, but I want to read what he's saying. So this particular guy.
What is going on?
Could you just murder him, please? Get the knife. All right, let's see here. Jesus is calling the church to follow his example, he wrote. He is calling the church to have courage to speak his truth in love about homosexual behavior, even though it isn't politically correct. He said, sexual relations between two men or two women was never part of God's plan and is a distortion of his design in creation, and as such is to be avoided. To engage in sexual intimacy outside of marriage between a man and a woman is against God's will and therefore sinful and needs to be repented of, not encouraged or told it's okay. I love this guy. Are you trying to get him in the bathroom? Okay. We're not actually going to murder the cat, guys. That was a joke. Hopefully that was obvious. All right, let's see here. So here's the thing. The church punished this guy by restricting his ministry. I'm not really sure what that means, but they restricted his ministry in October. He was found guilty by a disciplinary board / hearing a panel of violating canon law due to his opposition to the resolution on same-sex marriage. And to me, that's pretty rough. It's like, this guy's been, an authority at the church for this long, a bishop, and he's just not allowed to dissent. It's like, I guess that's just how these like massive church organizations work. I always went to these sort of independent Protestant churches growing up, and I don't think that they had any kind of authority over them. Like it wasn't like the Catholic Church where you have this massive organization. It's just they just did whatever they wanted as ministers, and there was no oversight body that I was aware of when I was going to these churches. So I don't know. You okay? Why are you smiling? You smiling like you? Are you throwing
That's
stuff
in
at me?
return.
Oh, you're trying to get me back?
Yeah.
I didn't actually hit you with that.
And I didn't hit you either.
That's true.
I tried.
Tried. Anyway, so the point is, this guy, he doesn't think that marriage should be between gay people. He thinks that... Now, here's what I think about the whole gay marriage thing. And I have a friend that's gay, and we talk about this sometimes, because a lot of traditional Christians think that if you're gay, you will go to hell, and therefore being gay should not be encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend thinks that even just the idea of saying if you're gay, you'll go to hell, that in itself is like bigoted, because he's gay and he doesn't like to hear it. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Just tell you something I don't think is true because you don't like it? It's like if you eat too much sugar,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get fat.
Or diabetes.
Or diabetes, right. It's not going to be good for your health, one way or the other. So if I say, if you eat too much sugar, you're going to get fat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a fat person doesn't want to hear that, is it bigoted for me to say it?
No.
Now, people crave sugar naturally. Of course, we all do, right? We all crave sugar naturally. And a lot of people crave sugar a lot, like massively crave sugar. They're almost like addicted to sugar, right? There's compulsion to eat sugar. So the debate about whether you're born that way or or this is something that you've just a lifestyle you've chosen to do this, it's kind of irrelevant, because eating sugar is bad for you, even though some people are naturally compelled to do it. So even if homosexuality is something that you're born with, that you do have this compulsion to be a homosexual, it can still be bad for you. We all have compulsions to do things that are bad for us. Everybody does. Like, some people have a compulsion to smoke. It doesn't mean it's good for them. And that might be natural, right? People are naturally addicted to caffeine. I find it repugnant. I don't know why. I guess I'm lucky. But I don't find alcohol nice either. I don't find any of that. But a lot of people are alcoholics because alcohol makes them feel good. It makes me feel terrible. But a lot of people feel good when they drink alcohol.
I don't.
You don't? But you drink more than I do.
Well, I would think like half glass of wine.
You will sit here and you will drink a beer.
Bottle of beer.
You'll like buy alcohol to drink at home.
Sometimes.
But I would never do that because I don't find it an enjoyable experience. So you must find it somewhat pleasurable.
Well, I don't know. I'm not an alcoholic, but
You're not an alcoholic. That is true. I won't make a joke about that. Valeria, ladies and gentlemen, is not an alcoholic.
but every time when I drink like a beer or glass of wine, you'd be like Alki.
I do call her Alki, yes, as a sort of like pet name. Yeah, some people call, women lovely, sweet things. I call mine Alki. Right, but anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is that you cannot dictate what people believe. People just believe what they believe. You could try to convince them not to believe what they believe, but if you believe that homosexuality is a sin, it's wrong, you cannot in good faith tell your gay friends, oh, no, I think what you're doing is great. Congratulations, you're so brave. You have to say, no, I think homosexuality is wrong. That doesn't mean you have to bully them. That doesn't mean you have to stop being friends with them. But it's sort of like I've had friends who are sort of perpetual philanderers, right? They're guys who, love sleeping around with various women, and they're not sleeping around with like women who are necessarily, stunningly beautiful. They're just getting whatever they can get, right? Now, I don't usually befriend guys like this. There's very few guys that I've had, like guy friends that I've had that are like that. But there are some. I have had a few guy friends that are a bit like that. And, I'll tell them like, no, what you're doing is ridiculous. I had one friend, in fact, we had a long conversation about this, and what he revealed to me was actually quite striking. He actually used to be a really good guy who didn't used to sleep around at all. And then he met a girl who he wanted to marry. He was like absolutely in love with this girl. She was like the woman of his dreams, and he wanted to marry her, and everything was perfect. And then she cheated on him. She actually cheated on him and left him. And he was so devastated, so destroyed, he thought he would never meet another girl that he would ever love again like he loved her, because he thought she was the one. And so he thought he lost his wife. His life was over. That was it. Like in terms of his romantic life had already, he'd had that experience. It had ended. Romantic life is dead. So for him, it was like, well, what do you do with women now? Like he wasn't expecting to love them anymore. So it was just, to him, it was like just like a game of cat and mouse, hunting women, sleeping with them, letting them go, going on to the next one. That to me was never a particularly attractive lifestyle, but I never had that traumatic thing that happened to me. But I started to notice that was a pattern with guys who were like that. A lot of these guys had some kind of traumatic experience with women, and then they kind of shifted into that lifestyle. So I was sympathetic to the guy, even though I didn't approve of what he was doing. But I never said to the guy, "You're so brave. You're such a brave man slut. Well done with your sleeping around with various women." No, I said, a lot of these girls are probably in love with you, and they're probably like horribly hurt when you sleep with them, and then just don't call them ever again. And he's like, "Yeah, probably." He did, in fact, later on get married. The guy that I'm thinking of did later on get married, and he's got kids now, and he lives happily ever after. So, happy ending for him. Probably not a happy ending for all the women that he slept with and broke the hearts of. Which I'm not sure all of them he broke the hearts of, but I'm sure some of them he did. But anyway, the point is, immoral sexual behavior is not something that you should condone just because people don't like it when you don't accept it, right? I mean, it's sort of like eating junk food. It's like, yeah, you can tell people, good for you, you're very brave for eating that whole pizza, or you can, because they want to hear that, or you can tell them the truth, which is that that's probably going to give you a heart attack. I think in America we do tend to be a little bit more honest than, say, like some other countries, like say Britain, where propriety is actually very important to them. Like some of them, not all British people, obviously. But we do have a problem in this country still with trying to be super polite to people, like to the point where now if you say something that's a bit rude to somebody, it's considered to be bigotry. Mm-hmm. It's considered to be hate speech. You're calling a man who's saying that he's a woman a man, and he says it's hate speech. And it's like, well, no, I'm just telling you the truth. Just because you don't want to hear it doesn't mean it's not the truth, right? And so this guy's, look, a lot of Christians think that if you're gay, you'll go to hell. It doesn't mean you need to be mean to gay people, but that's what they think. And no amount of gay people wanting Christians not to believe that is going to make it change. And so I think that we kind of have had to get into this position in society where Christians recognize that gay people are extremely numerous, they're well accepted in society, and they are, they have a lot of influence politically even. And, you're going to run into them, you're going to work with them, they're going to be part of your life, whether you want them to be or not. And so, you kind of have to not necessarily accept their lifestyle as acceptable, but you have to accept it as part of the reality of living in America. And, you really shouldn't bully anyone just for being gay. But I think that on the flip side of that, I think gay people have to realize that they have become part of a society that still has traditional Christians in it.
Yeah.
And you have to also respect their beliefs. And you have to respect the fact that they think, certain things that you may not like. And you have to maybe not bully them. And you have to maybe not, you're just going to have to force yourself to accept the fact that there are Christians in the world that you're going to have to work with, that you're going to run into in the world, and just accept that and respect them, and not, and you may not accept their political beliefs, you may not accept their religious beliefs, but that doesn't mean you have to bully them, right? So in the same way that, Christians have had to adjust to this idea that they're working with people they think are living in sin, homosexual Americans have to accept that not all Christians accept homosexuality as ethical, and respect those Christians anyway, and work with them respectfully, and deal with them in society respectfully. But now we have this woke culture who's like, no, if you disagree with me, you're canceled. I mean, I cannot tell you how frustrated I am about my YouTube situation right now. I'm being suppressed completely unfairly by YouTube, massively. I'm losing hundreds of thousands of views every month, hundreds of thousands of views, because YouTube doesn't let my videos be viewed by anybody who isn't subscribed. And even then, I think there is a limit on how many people are even seeing it, even among subscribers, because I'm getting about 25,000 views per video, and it used to be somewhere between like 60 and 150,000 views per video. And then if I get a really good one, it'd be like 500,000 views. I mean, it'd be like
like at least 100,000.
Yeah. Well, at least 60,000. That was like the bare minimum. Was like 60,000 was like a bad video would do.
And now it's like 26.
Yeah, I think I had one the other day that did 12,000 yesterday. I mean, it's ridiculous. If you haven't seen my video on young Trump, go to Mr. Reagan and watch that. It's a pretty good video. Just a little video of clips of Trump when he was younger saying awesome stuff. It's pretty. One thing is pretty funny. He said that if he could choose any vice president, this is when he was younger. He said, if he runs for president and he could pick any vice president he wanted, who would he pick? And he said, I think Oprah. He said, Oprah's a phenomenal lady. She's great. She's really popular. Everybody likes her. Why not? She would be my vice president. It's pretty funny. All right. Do you want to read the next story, darling?
Yeah.
All right. What are you laughing at?
Joe Biden attempts to speak Spanish and fails miserably.
Yeah.
There is video of it. I want to see it.
I shouldn't criticize people for speaking poorly because I do not read particularly well either. But you'd think...
Me too.
Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.